Yo, what's going on, everybody? This is a Black Manga Critic here. And, sometimes, I like to stream at the most random, times. I did not plan this a day in advance or a week in advance or anything like that. I just felt like streaming about this because I was thinking about it. I kind of wanted to talk, just like throw some thoughts out there very quickly. So hopefully the stream isn't like super, super long. I want to react to some other manga today if I can. I want to get to Yona. I wanted to get to Nausicaa, but that's I gotta like sit reread chapter 1 so I know everything that's going on to make sure. Then get to chapter 2. So I don't know. I might just save that for the weekend. But Yona, I'm gonna be reacting to Yona today. Many more chapters than I did the other day. I just got more, a lot more energy. Like I'll be ready for that. All right, so Yona today and A Bride Story, another chapter for that as well. So I'm going to get back to that, look through it quickly, and then react to it. All right, so this stream is not about that. This stream is about My Hero Academia. Okay? We're going to talk about just like how I feel about the quirks, this new thing that has happened, right? Deku is going to have multiple quirks, right? Or he's going to have 6 more quirks in total, right? Right now, he's kinda has access to this like black whip corp thing from one of the vestiges, right? The Hellboy vestige that we've all seen, that's spoken to Deku, given him some advice, blah blah blah. So for me, there are a few reasons. There are a few reasons that I feel like this is like one perfectly fine. It makes total sense, right? And this is not to say that people haven't said this, right? Obviously, people have said this. This is a conversation that is going on. I don't look around Reddit or anything like that because I got things to do. All right, I don't have time to I don't have time to sit and look at Reddit and look through every comment and sorry, no, okay. I have other things to do, like reading manga and working and spending time with my fiance, spending time with my cats and cleaning and doing all this other stuff, right? So, let's talk about a few things. I think the first thing we gotta talk about is sort of like this idea that, oh my goodness, Deku has so many quirks now. He's going to have so many quirks. He's going to be so overpowered. It's going to be corny. It's going to make, maybe it'll make the story like more boring because, we already know what's going to happen. He's going to be the strongest hero, which like to me, like is kind of like, it's a little odd. It's an odd thought, and again, I'm trying to be nicer. So I'm not gonna say like, oh, this is a dumb thought or this is a stupid thought or this is something like that. I'm not going to say that. But I think it's odd, right? It's odd because if you've been reading up until this point, if you've read all 213 chapters, right? Like you should know that we've already known, right? And watched anime, right? Even though you already read the manga, right? Then you should already know that this is like, we already knew that. He was already going to be overpowered. We understood that, like, once he got that one for all ability, he was going to be overpowered, period. So it's not, we understood that. And I think we understood that as he read the story, he was going to incrementally grow, right? He's going to incrementally sort of get stronger until he reached that ridiculous OP all might, pre all for one injury state, right? Like we understood that already. So I don't really get where that's. I don't want to say I don't get where that's coming from. I know where that's coming from, right? Because people like to say that, like it always pops up when you're reading, especially a shonen manga or battle shoujo, something like that or whatever, right? A seinen, right? This is so overpowered. I don't understand. People say that all the time. This doesn't bother me. This doesn't bother me at all, because again, we already knew he was going to be overpowered. We understood that we understood at a certain point he would start to outpace his classmates in certain ways, right? And in some ways he's already done that, right? Quite a few YouTubers have already, and people and people on Twitter, people on YouTube, and people in general, fans of the series, have already talked about the fact that, right, Deku is now someone that people look out for, and they be like, yo, we can't underestimate him, or we got to make sure that we know where he is at all times, because if we don't, he gonna destroy us. You know what I mean? He's going to destroy us, right? Because they understand where he is, how powerful he is. At this point, in terms of just utilizing, and this is only maybe a certain percentage of One for All, honestly, right? It's not that much. It's not that much. He's not using that much of One for All, right? But The boy is strong. Okay, your boy is strong. All right, so that I think is very straightforward. I don't have an issue with him becoming overpowered because we already knew he was going to become overpowered with one for all. Adding to that doesn't really, make it ridiculous. What I will say, and this is sort of moving on to my next point, is that I can understand how people, right, and I'm phrasing it this way in particular, right, because I'm not saying people are dumb no. I can understand how people can say, oh, well, now he's got all of these quirks and he'll be overpowered because he has 6 quirks. Let's say he has 6 quirks at the same time. He can utilize all of them, blah, blah, blah. One, we're not even sure how he's going to be able to utilize them at a particular point, right? We have no, right? We don't know if he's going to be able to utilize quirks at the same time or if he has to swap in between them, right? We don't know a lot of that stuff yet. I think we can make assumptions clearly, right? And that's fine. And we can think about how that might play itself out. But I think we also have to understand that there is a precedent that is set for being able to utilize quirks, right? There's to learn, to train with that, right? You don't just, all right, I got it. Like for Deku in particular, right? There's a precedent set for that. When he got one for all, it was just, I can use one for all now. I'm gonna be all might. I'm gonna start beating villains. I'm gonna be beating villains. I'm gonna be the greatest hero of all time after chapter 6. You know what I mean? No, that's not what happened. Like we are at chapter 213, and he can only really, really, really utilize a certain percentage of one for all without being harmed by it. You know what I mean? Being severely harmed by it or anything like that, right? So again, Deku is going to have to train with each quirk. I think that's something that there's a precedent for that, right? It's not like he's gonna come in guns a-blazing, he's gonna use all 6 quirks. No, did we not just see what happened? Right? He had access to the quirk and he couldn't even control it. Right? Could not control it in the slightest. It was just destroying everything in sight. Right? He was gonna hurt his fellow UA students. Right? So it's I don't know what people are talking about because, again, there's been a precedent set for people having to learn how to utilize their quirks so that they don't hurt others and they don't hurt themselves. Okay? So this is going to take some time. It's going to take some time for him to keep utilizing one for all to figure out how to to use that, right, to grow into the percentages incrementally, right? And learn this whip abilities, black whip ability or whatever, right? To learn how to use that, to learn how to use it at will so that he doesn't harm anybody. And then he's gonna have to do the same thing with these other quirks. And there's a way in which what I really like is it sort of gives us an idea of, well, I'll get into this a little bit. I'm not gonna mention it now, but I mean, it gives us an idea of just how challenging Deku's sort of path to being the number 1 hero is going to be, right? If he was just right, and in some ways, this is very interesting because I think we understood, is it just going Horikoshi has had to sort of figure out, okay, how do I make one for all as an ability to as a learning experience for Deku interesting, right? So he's had to sort of map it out and figure out different sort of techniques that Deku can use with one for all. Right outside of All Might's own fighting sort of style and everything like that, right? The shoot style with utilizing kicks. He's still training in that, right? He's still figuring out how to make that as efficient as possible, right? Just the shoot style. He's still learning that. He's still figuring out the flicks, right? He's how to use air, how to use air pressure to attack his opponents, right? He's still figuring out a lot of stuff, and he's gonna have to keep learning that stuff. So just adding these 6 quirks only makes it harder for Deku. It doesn't make him super overpowered, right? It just makes things very difficult for him. This is gonna be really hard. Right? Because he's not all for I don't even know, right? And I wanted to mention this, he's not all for one. All for one is an individual that I don't even know history. I don't know how much All for One had to train to utilize the quirks that he was taking from people, right? That he was garnering, right? I don't know what that history looks like. I don't understand. But I think in a lot of sort of obvious ways, that moves on sort of to my next point, which is that like from a story perspective, from a sort of from different narrative sort of perspective, from a sort of like, you know, figurative language, like overall message, you know, sort of sort of thing, some sort of set space. Like this is very much tied into like, right, these are like parallels. These are parallels that are being set up, right? There are very particular like ways in which the story is being written by Horikoshi to say, hey, Deku's got multiple quirks. Who else has multiple quirks? Oh, All for One has multiple quirks, right? And it's like stuff like this is like basic level like thinking, right? Like I think once you've gotten out of middle school, that's the type of thinking that you should be able to like do, right? Once you gotten out of middle school, you should be able to be like, well, Deku is going to have multiple quirks. Who else has multiple quirks? All for One has multiple quirks. How was their relationship set up? Well, Deku is a protagonist. He's supposed to be the hero. All for One is a villain. He's supposed to be, right? He's supposed to be the bad guy. He's supposed to be the antagonist. He's supposed to be the character that is in the way of the protagonist, that tries to thwart the protagonist's progress in different ways, right? So that's like, again, basic. This is basic. This is not me going on a soapbox on my, well, I'm so smart, I figured this out. This is like, I mean, we all figured this out. We all have seen this, right? So I think if you're one of those people who has not sort of seen that and has made those connections, then you just gotta maybe reread the series, like look, you know, think about it a little bit more, right? That's not saying like, oh, you're dumb or anything like that. It's just like, think about it. Just think about it a little bit more. Think about it a little bit more. And then like, if you don't see the connections in that way, then you will. But I think generally most of us, if not all of us, right, see that connection. Multiple quirks, Deku, All for One, right? And in the future, right, Nomu, right? And in the future, Shigaraki, Shigaraki's going to have multiple quirks. Right? And this is not like some theory or anything like that. I'm not giving it like some lofty like title or anything like that. I'm just like, this is like something that I feel like, again, if you read My Hero Academia, like, yeah, this is something that you probably thought about and that many people have thought about and are pretty sure that is going to happen. This is like very basic, like sort of level stuff, right? When you're reading these sort of shonen, right? If you read enough stories, you read enough shonen, especially if you've read enough shonen manga, you know certain things are coming. Certain things are set up in a particular way, and they will happen, right? When you were reading Naruto, you knew Naruto and Sasuke were going to have a final battle. You understood that. Even when people were like, oh, well, now Sasuke and Naruto clearly can't fight because Sasuke is fighting with Naruto in the war. I'm like, no, this is the setup. It's set up that way. Naruto and Sasuke fought the first time, right? And Sasuke beat him, right? There's got to be a point where Naruto beat Sasuke. I'm sorry. That was a setup. That was a setup. We understood that, okay? So when the battle did happen, I was like, yeah, that's what we expected, right? And most of us did expect that, right? There were some of us who did not, and you know that's fine. You know, maybe you were trying to think about it in a different way. Maybe Kishimoto was going another way, but we understood that. So when we understood that battle was going to happen. So when we look at My Hero Academia, we understand like, yo, Shigaraki and Deku are gonna have a like battle. They're gonna have a battle. Okay, All for One, maybe Deku might fight All for One. I don't know, but it won't be like this. It won't be like a All Might versus All for One type battle. Right, it might be like a meeting. I think they will definitely meet at some point, like in terms of like a formal meeting where they are speaking to one another in some sort of way, in some sort of sense. I think that will happen, and I think that will make Deku think about utilizing the quirks, right, and the multiple quirks, because he understands that All for One is an entity that can use multiple quirks, and he understands that he's connected to the Nomu being able to use multiple quirks and all that stuff. So these are connections that we can make, right? These are very like, again, basic connections that we can make as readers of My Hero Academia, okay? But, right, and so we can understand that, right, again, these are parallels that Horikoshi is setting up. Right, these are, again, very basic parallels. Shigaraki, Deku, All Might, All for One, right? Like these are very basic like parallels, right? And we should like very much understand that this is the story about those parallels in a lot of ways, right? Heroes, villains, right? What their growth looks like when we juxtapose them, right? What do we see, right? What do we see when we juxtapose those paths of growth? Okay, and I think, yeah, Shigaraki is going to have multiple quirks. I don't know what those quirks are going to be, but he's going to have a bunch of them. Very similar to sort of like, right, like Ben 10. If you ever watched Ben 10, and then there was Kevin 11, right? It was like, oh, Ben has 10 things, Kevin has 11. Kevin has more, so he must be like, and right, and it's just like, come on, like Ben has to figure out a way to beat Kevin 11 consistently because Kevin always has more transformations than Ben. That's just how it's set up. So Ben has to figure that out. Same thing here. Shigaraki is gonna have, I think, a few more quirks than Deku. Quite a few, okay? And Deku is going to have to utilize those quirks that he has to their greatest, like, sort of like potential at that particular point, right? When he's sort of mastered all of them. This is just like a thing. This is just like a thing. These are things that we understand, all right? So for me, it's not an issue because for him to have 6 quirks, or well, 7, really, right? Because of the stockpiled power of one for all, right? Like, that's fine. That's fine because that's very much so tied into themes that are being explored throughout My Hero Academia, right? This idea of quirks, this idea of what it means to have multiple quirks, right? What it says about power and how to use that responsibly, and all these different things, and what it means to be a hero, and all these different things, right? What it means to grow up as an individual without quirks, right? To be quirkless, and then to have all of these quirks, and to have that experience, right? And to be able to say, well, I was a person who did not have a quirk, so that informs my experience as a person that now has not only 1 quirk but 7, or will have 7, right? So these are things that Horikoshi is working with, and he's going to continue to explore throughout his story. This is how writing works. This is how storytelling works, right? Themes, motifs, whatever. All these things are tools that we use to explore ideas and ideologies and dogma and the ways in which we view the world and morality and blah 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 blah, right? Ideas of heroism and villainy and all that stuff. Okay, so this is like stuff that to me is it's very straightforward, right? This is not an issue because this is stuff that Horikoshi's been setting up. Like, he's been setting this stuff up. And right, it's your job, I think, as a reader, right? Partly, right, like the writer's job, right? Partly it's Horikoshi's job to do that setup, to write it because he's writing the story. But it's partly your job to connect the dots as a reader, to connect the dots, right? To do that, to read it, to connect the dots, in a certain way, and then talk about it, and then talk about how you feel about it and everything like that. I can understand if you feel like, oh, I don't really like this. It seems kind of, I can understand that. That's fine. But I think, like, for people to be like, oh, well, this is just like, not great writing, or this is not. I'm like, but what are you talking about? I don't know what your sort of precedent is. I don't know what you're comparing it to. I'm not sure where else you are looking, because we could always have a conversation about that. To me, that's fine. But it's like, this is stuff that is like, this is like setup. This is like basic like level setup, right? By Horikoshi. That's what this is. All right. Right, and it's like, right, like this is a bit. Let me look through the stuff. Yeah, it's been hitting out throughout the series. Justine, like the whole series, we've been like, oh, okay. For me, I was hyped about it because, like, did I predict it? No, but I think, like, again, when you see it and then you look back, you're like, oh, that's something that's supposed to happen if you did not predict that, right? If you weren't connecting the dots sort of like throughout in a particular way. And I wasn't really doing that, right? I'm not gonna say, oh, I predicted that he was gonna have 6. I'm not gonna say that because I did not. Sorry. All right. The power ceiling thing, I mean, that, like, again, it's not an issue, right? It's no, right, but like that's fine because this is something that happens all the time. There is always like going to be there are always going to be individuals, right, within these types of stories who are just absurd. And what I think in a lot of ways people tend to forget is, like, it's not like Nomu are the only villains in this world. I think that's something that people really, really overestimate. And that's why people overestimate the importance of like Deku versus like a Gentle. And story-wise, right? That's not to say you have to like the fight or you have to think it's this amazing thing. Not saying that at all. You could think that that battle was garbage, hot garbage, and then you didn't like it and you thought it was boring. That's fine with me. It's not going to affect how I feel about it, right? But I think it is clearly like it's an essential part of the story. One, because and I think the biggest reason for that is because Gentle is not a Nomu. Gentle is not all for one. Gentle is not some over the top, larger than life villain. He's very much so a representation of like just like the opposite of that, and of in some ways a desire to reach that sort of level of notoriety, right? Like Gentle wants to be seen, he wants to be known, he wants to be loved in a lot of ways, right? As like an All Might or other heroes are, and even villains to an extent are, right? So and also Gentle is really important because he's a villain that is doing something that, right? Like he's doing something that's illegal, that he's not supposed to be doing, right? And Deku has to stop him. Deku can't just go along and be like, well, he's not that dangerous, so I'm just gonna let him go, right? Like Deku has to stop him. One, because Deku is a hero. Deku is so, and a big part of Deku's heroism is like stopping like bad things from happening, saving people, helping people, and he's trying to save his friends. He's trying to help his friends. And again, there are levels to it, right? Not every villain is going to be an awful one. Not every villain is going to be a Nomu. Not every villain is going to be a Shigaraki, or a Dabi, or anything, or a Toga, or anything, or Twice. They're not going to be these like larger than lifey kind of like villains. They're going to be very ground level. They're going to be very My Hero Academia Vigilantes level, in some ways, right? They're just going to be people. Oh, I got to snatch purse snatchers, right? And people that people are trying to rob, a bodega, and people who are going to vandalize property in certain ways, right? Like so Deku has to be able to like deal with that, because he has to know, oh, I might have to deal with a villain that's on the Gentle's level, right? Heroism is not just, oh, I gotta fight the biggest and baddest like villains, and then that's it, and then I go to sleep, and I go home, and then I come back the next day and I fight another big bad like villain, right? It's like it's gonna vary. And that's why for me, Deku versus Gentle is important, because Deku has to come to grips with, one, with that, and two, with the idea that this kind of villain is very much so similar to him in some ways, and that they're at a kind of similar sort of level in some ways. They're both kind of, that Deku's not larger than life. Well, I mean, he wasn't, right, at that point. To me, he wasn't really. He's a kid. He was going to school, right? And Gentle is like this kind of like bum kind of villain, who is making like YouTube videos, you know what I mean? Like taking change from people. Like, it's just like, it's interesting. And he has to think about, and in some ways, right, when you're dealing with larger than life villains who are doing all these things, these massive crimes, it's much easier to say, I gotta stop that person because he's literally killing people. Because people are dying because like All For One is killing people, like Shigaraki is killing people, like I have to stop these people from killing other people and from like destroying like the country, right? It's very easy to be like, well, I'm not particularly concerned about your morality right now. Very easy to do that, right? With those kind of villains. But with someone like that's on a Gentle sort of level, Deku has to think. He has to think. He has to like weigh that. He has to weigh the crimes that Gentle is committing with who Gentle is as a person, and he has to make certain decisions based on that. And that gets in the way of his ability to be a hero. And I think that, again, it's important. It's an important part of Deku's growth, right? As a hero and as a person, I think even more so. Okay, because he has to think. He has to think like, how am I judging this person? What am I doing? How do I reconcile these thoughts while I'm doing my hero work? That stuff is really important. It's really important. It's the kind of stuff that like people in like certain jobs do all the time. Social workers, for instance. Okay? Teachers. Right? This is stuff that people do all the time in their work, which could be considered in some ways different types of heroism. Right? And again, that's why for me it's not like an issue. Like with the power scaling sort of thing, it's like There are always going to be people that are like that. And that's fine. And people are always going to be outclassed, especially in shonen, right? In shonen manga. People are always going to be outclassed. Not everybody's going to be a larger-than-life hero. Not every villain is going to be a larger-than-life villain. They're going to be people that, right? There have to be heroes, like, right? There's got to be a Moomin Rider. Got to be a Moomin Rider. Okay? From One Punch Man. All right? To show you like what heroism is about. It's not like, right, Moomin Rider does things for people that aren't that Saitama doesn't. All right. Saitama in a lot of ways is there to punch the biggest bad and to end them. And then move on and play and eat noodles at home and play video games with King. Right? And Moomin Rider is there to like do the little things. Maybe walk someone across the street, get a package, little things. Okay. So I think for me, like, I liked what Horikoshi did there with the gentle stuff. I obviously I have criticism of like there are things that I didn't like, other things I was like, but I understand what was going on there and how it ties into the story and what it does for it and what it does for Deku as a person and for his character development. So yeah, but this stuff doesn't really bug me. All right. Let's see. Right. And I think like, hey, what's up, Gabby? What's up? Anthony, Michael, Justine. Who else here? Ja. Sean. What's up, everybody? Right. This is stuff that I think to me is like very like straightforward. This is not anything I think to be like, well, this doesn't make any sense. I mean, all of it makes sense, right? And we don't even know what the other quirks are. I think that's what I really like about it. I want to see what Horikoshi is going to do with that. What is he going to do with these quirks? What are they going to look like? Are they going to be able to sort of work in tandem with each other? Are they going to be separate quirks that are very much so situational? And another point that I wanted to make is that this is very much so in line with sort of Deku. And Deku is like, right, in one way, he's a perfect person to be able to utilize multiple quirks because he's worked so hard to understand how other quirks work and what their applications are and how to utilize them in certain situations. So in some ways, that will be very helpful to him in terms of, mastering them, knowing when to use them and all the things like that. Okay. But he's not going to master them like, 2 seconds. He ain't going to do that in 2 seconds. He's not going to have a chapter where he's just going to be like, oh, this is a random quirk that came out of nowhere. Now I'm going to master it. I don't think so. All right. I don't even think we're going to see that Black Whip quirk again necessarily. We might see it again, but I don't think we're going to see it again for this particular battle. But I think later on, obviously, yeah, we will. Okay. And there are going to be moments where at the most inopportune times, another quirk is gonna rear its head, and Deku's gonna be like, I was just using another quirk. Come on, Hellboy, come on, other vestige. Come on, Nana, I was just using Hellboy's quirk. Where'd you come from? Right? There are gonna be moments where that happens. Okay, and it's gonna be very inopportune. And he's gonna have to figure that out. But Deku is a character that I think has that ability to do that. One, because again, when he was quirkless, he put in so much effort and so much work into that. So in some right, it's like again, Horikoshi is. I don't know if he's hinting at it, but I think you can make an argument for that hinting from Deku analyzing other people's abilities and how to use them and stuff like that. All right, so that when he has multiple quirks of his own, he can say, okay, I've seen a similar quirk like that before, right? Like the Black Whip, I've seen common, what's his name? Kamui, right? Like Kamui Woods, right? Like I've seen that person like use his abilities to ensnare people and to capture people and to do something like that. So in that way, Deku can be like, oh, all right, that might be a way that I can utilize this quirk in a certain way without like harming people and subduing people and all those different things. So there's always different things. But I really, really, really want to see Nana's quirk. That I am in total agreement. I want to see that. I need to know. Okay. Right. Like I need to know. That's gonna be really cool. I'm really looking forward to it. And all the other quirks as well. I'm really looking forward to. And the conversation with her, because she's All Might's mentor, and like that's gonna be so good. It's like, I look forward to it. I do. Okay. So you know, a lot of this stuff is very clear. A lot of stuff is very clear. I think most of us, right? Everyone in this chat, we understand. We know what's happening here, why it's happening, the implications of it, from like a plot progression standpoint, from a general like story like standpoint, from a figurative like standpoint, like what like right message wise, what's trying to be said there, right? Motifs, metaphors, themes, all these different things. All right, and we moving, right? We waiting for more. I'm like, where is what? You know what I mean? Like, yeah. You know, and I think that's also interesting, like to be like, okay, like will Deku either intern with certain heroes, or will he just seek their help, you know, and use All Might to be like, yeah, and that'll be interesting, right? To be like, All Might, I need you to get me in contact with Kamui Woods. Like that would be like, you know what I mean? And just to see like how would All Might respond to that as Deku's like mentor, as sort of like his like mentor, right? And I think he'd be fine with it. One, because he's on the Gran Torino, right? All Might was gonna be fine. He's gonna be like, all right, like I can't help you with that, but I can make some calls, right? Like where he's like, I can make some calls about the message thing. I can talk to Gran Torino. I can send you to Gran Torino to train for a bit because I can't help you with this particular kind of thing. I was fine with One for All, almost right off the bat. So I figured that out. I can't help you with that. I don't know, right? So All Might's gonna just like, you know, like, all right, I'll contact Kamui Woods so you can help me with this thing. You know, yeah. I mean, yo, and what's good? What's good? B2B, Christoph, what's up? And like, it's like, yeah, like he's gonna need the 6 quirks to be able to like do hero work in different ways. I think that's also really interesting to note, right? Like All Might was the #1 hero in a lot of ways, but we don't know a lot about that. Like I think in some ways we've never seen All Might do ground level. And when I say ground level, I don't mean like on the ground, right? I mean like not larger than life type stuff, right? Like fighting like that ridiculous slime, like quirk user, or the villains in like the in the movie, right? Or Awful One, right? Like, I mean, ground level stuff like saving, like, you know, saving someone from like getting robbed, or saving someone from you know, like basic stuff, right? And how did he utilize his powers to do that? I think Deku, right? Like this is gonna be interesting. How does he figure out how to use these quirks to do more efficient work, right? You're not gonna have to punch everybody, all right, Deku. You're not gonna have to punch everybody. Sometimes you might just have to like keep them ensnared, right? What happens if you have to deal with someone who is like on a ledge and wants to commit suicide? What do you do? Deku? You're gonna jump up, grab him, and save him. Stop. Like, no, you might have to use a different quirk. You might have to use like Black Whip to be like, all right, stop until he can get there, right? Like there are just like different things that, you know, we have to think about. And when it comes, right, at least when it comes to what do those 6 quirks represent, right? What do they symbolize? Like, right, what are they metaphors for? Or what will they be metaphors for? Because with each quirk each quirk will represent something different in some ways, but also be tied together to represent this one big thing. So, you know, I think that's going to be really interesting to see how Horikoshi writes them in. I look forward to it. And I also think, I don't know, I just want to see I want to see where this goes. And I want to get back to the battle too. I want to see what's going on with Monoma and Mina and everybody else, Nochiko and everybody else. I want to see that too. All right, so that's all I wanted to say. You know, to me, it's like this basic stuff, basic. You know. I just kind of wanted to throw my thoughts out there. And yeah, it's gonna be a long ride. It's gonna be a long manga, right? We're already in like volumes, what, like 20 or something like that, like 20 something. I want to say, right, or 19. I don't know. I can't remember. I think. My Hero Academia volumes. Google, quick Google search. Okay. Let's see. Okay, so what's the volumes going all the way down? So there are 20, right? 21. Right. So there are like 21 volumes in Japan. All right, and there's gonna be one more volume coming out pretty soon, right? With the end of the Realm of Souls chapter. I think that's like a pretty perfect place to stop. So that from 201 to 213, that's gonna be like, all right, another volume. Okay, because they're short, right? Because they're shorter chapters, so they'll easily. I think like that makes a lot of sense. Maybe Horikoshi was thinking about that as he was writing them, and trying to fit everything into like a volume. Maybe, I don't know, maybe. All right, but they'll fit, right? Because they've been a lot shorter. So that'll probably be in like volume 22 from 201 to 213. And what else? Yeah, I think that's generally what I wanted to say. In America, I think we're only up to 19. I want to say that's my guess. Oh no, yeah, no, we're up to not 19. We're up to April, February. No, we're not even there. We're like at 16, and 17 is gonna come out soon. That's gonna be like the chapter. That's gonna be like the volume that people are gonna want to get, right? I'm gonna see my guy Orphe. He's gonna come out and be like, I had to cop the volume, right? Like you're gonna see people just be like, I had to get this volume because that's like a that's a volume, okay? That's the Mirio versus One for All, like just like his the battle. Oh my lord, that's gonna be great. Okay. Yeah, he definitely won't be able to finish in third. This is going to be a long series. I want to see Horikoshi take more breaks. I want to see him take more breaks. I want to see that. I mean, if I see that, it's going to be awesome. So I'm looking forward to that. Yeah, I just don't have the space for all of it. Like I gotta start. Like I feel like with Shonen Jump, if it's a series that I particularly love, I'm gonna collect all the volumes. Like Hikaru no Go, I only have like the first 5 volumes on me, but that's gonna be a series where like, oh no, I need all of them like in print, like here. Like I like, you know what I mean? That Hunter x Hunter, Assassination Classroom, Dragon Ball already have, right? Like certain series like that. Like I need to have them there. Yeah, yo, BDB, you ain't lying. I won't see no Scooby snacks. Right? And again, I think what would have been a Scooby snack is, and I think some things are very important to know that when Scooby snacks, like this sort of idea of it, there are a lot of different ways in which we can sort of like talk about how they are constructed. One thing I think is, and Shonen Manga has like this very big like, Shonen Manga generally has like the issue with it, but I think, I mean, for me, I mentioned in One Piece because One Piece has a big issue with that too. Because what people try to sort of say is, oh well, here are some things that are introduced. Maybe it's in a panel. Maybe it's in multiple panels. Maybe it's a plot point that's sort of mentioned, but we don't hear about that for like another like 300 chapters. I'm like, that's a Scooby snack because I should not have to wait 300 chapters to hear about a particular thing again. Like 300 chapters to hear about, like, just to hear that, Lola's mom was big. Like, I gotta make a count. But it's like, I should not have to wait like a ridiculous, like a really long time just to learn that later on. And you'd be like, oh, my mom's gonna be really Lola. Like, my mom is really important. I'm like, that's a Scooby snack. I don't care about that. Like, I don't care. Right? But I will say the Viva card, like, I mean, that's like clearly important and stuff like that. But I'm like, that's so far, far, far away. And I think like some things are just clearly like unimportant, right? Like when you see like and for me, one of the biggest ones is like when you see right, Commander Snack, when he's shown in the Whole Cake Island arc and he has no real like effect on what's going on there. Like that's a Scooby snack. Who cares? You know? Like, who cares? He ain't do nothing. He's already been beaten by another supernova. I don't care. I'm not interested in that. But people are, yo, we saw Snack in the chapter. What does that mean? Nothing. Okay? Or like when we see the hat. Right? When we see the hat, and Emu's looking, it's like, you know, and there's a hat in a freezer or whatever, and like that's different from seeing a knife put through like Vivi's like picture, right? When you see the knife put through Vivi's picture, that's fine because the reverie is happening as we speak. So it's not really a Scooby snack. It's just like, yeah, that makes sense. When we see the straw hat, I'm like, when do you think the next time is that we're gonna hear about that hat? When? Like maybe 6 years later, 5 years later, years? Nah, sorry, I'm not here for that. Like he could have shown that at any time. He could have shown that at any time previous to this. There's so many moments where Oda could have just been like, all right, I'm gonna show you this hat. I'm gonna show you this the true leader. I'm gonna show you all stuff. But now, right? And when is that? When are we gonna come back to that important stuff? When are we gonna come back to that? Years later. That's why that's a big Scooby snack. That's like a particularly large Scooby snack because we understand that, yes, as sort of like this kind of, you know, okay Jigsaw sort of plot that's happening, right? That Oda's sort of constructing. And I say okay because it's like it's okay. I think at first it started off very well, and then it just dragged out a little bit too much. So now it's not a amazing Jigsaw plot, but it's like an okay Jigsaw plot. It's just like when are we gonna hear about that? And I think there are like a lot of moments where we've seen that kind of stuff where we're like, when are we gonna hear about this thing again? Why do we have to know about this stuff right at this particular point? What was your reasoning there? And you know, I don't know. I could go into this a little bit like more. I'm not gonna do it here because this is a My Hero video. All right, so I'm gonna stop streaming. Okay, but I will say thank y'all for coming through because I don't want to make this like a One Piece stream. Because that always seems to happen. I was just such to like get on One Piece for whatever reason. But you know, yeah. All right, but this My Hero stuff, like this is like, look, if you read, okay, or if you have reading comprehension skills, like outside of like, you know, like after like that have been fostered outside of like middle school, you'll be fine. Right, and even middle school students can do this, right? Like I've taught this stuff, like these kind of things to middle school students. They get it. They know what themes are. They know what motifs are. At least my students do. So, you know, they can do it. They can do it. It is kind of fun. It is kind of fun. I mean, and the thing is, like, I love One Piece. Like, I think early One Piece is fantastic. You know, and I think one of the reasons I don't talk about it as much is because people do that. People do that, right? Like I like Ash does it, right? Maggie, Simply Scarlet does it. Gabby, like certain people do that all the time. They talk about early One Piece and what they loved about it and the characters that they loved and all that stuff. So I mean, I don't got to do that. And sometimes I do. Sometimes I will stand a certain character and be like, yo, Kobe, my son. Okay, you know what I mean? I talk about Kobe till the end of time. All right. Certain people I love, certain characters like Jinbei, I'll stand Jinbei till the end of time. Okay, so it's not like I don't like anything about One Piece, or I never say anything nice, is that one, I want to choose to be critical of it because I want to be critical. That's it. All right. No, Hemmings knows. Hemmings knows. And a lot of times, Naya and I, we're like, I'll say something and he'll say something, and with us, it's all like in good fun. Like we understand it, like right, we understand how we feel about the series and like our opinions and stuff like that. And we always do that. I think Horikoshi will keep Deku's rivals on the same sort of like scale by at least with Bakugo, right? Because like certain of these heroes have particular abilities that will allow them to do so, right? Like Bakugo's ability is like ridiculous. So he will definitely be able to keep that up. And again, that's on Horikoshi, right? Horikoshi has to step up. So if he doesn't step up, then he doesn't step up. And then I gotta get on Horikoshi and be like, that wasn't it, Chief. Okay? So I gotta do that. Right? Not that I have to do that, but I'm going to, because I'm gonna take note and I'm be like, I don't know. It wasn't it. Okay? All right, like Oda's not the only person that I get on. I get on Horikoshi, even Togashi. Like sometimes, like Togashi will do something, and I'm like, I don't know, sir. All right, I don't know what's going on there, but people do certain things all the time, and I'll tell them. All right, if Bakugo learns that he has 6 quirks, Bakugo, that's gonna be interesting because it's gonna be very telling about his growth, right? How does he respond? Will he respond in a particular way? And will he be particularly mature? Will he choose to help Deku with that? Or will he choose to just be like, all right, now I got to get stronger because now you have this many quirks. Now I got to work even harder. And again, it's going to be like, all right, Bakugo even more so will realize like, oh, this is going to be real hard, okay? It's not going to be so easy to become the #1 hero. So I look forward to that interaction. I look forward to that. He's gonna be so mad, but it's gonna be good. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be good. And I think like again, that's a part of his growth, right? When you see people who are extremely talented at something, right? Like if I see a kid, there's a kid at one of the schools that I teach, like his ability, like his math like deduction like abilities are like ridiculously high, right? But I'm not gonna look at the kid and be like, man, think you're so smart. Get out of here. Like, no, I'm gonna foster that. I'm gonna be like, this is amazing. Like, all right, maybe you could like, work on something like this. Maybe you could work on this kind of project, So, certain things. You want to foster that growth. You don't want to be jealous that someone has talent, right? Because like, they have the talent, right? They didn't ask to have the talent. They didn't like do anything like that. They just have it. And it's important to foster that talent because like maybe they can do something positive with it, right? Something to better the world, to better their environments, whatever, the spaces that they reside in. So, Bakugo has to deal with that, and he has to think about like, what can I do that won't make me look like a jerk, And it's gonna be interesting to see. It's gonna be interesting to see, and how. And how I can't, man. Maybe you out. Oh my goodness. But I know you're joking. I don't. But it'll be interesting to see how he responds to that. All right. I think I do gotta get out of here because it's 2:42. I do want to get some like cleaning done and stuff like that. I want to see if I can get a haircut, but I don't know. I mean, I might see if I can. We'll see. We'll see. All right. Man. All right. I gotta get on Twitter because someone's saying something about something. Oh man. Nah. No. BDB, no. I'm not even engaging with that. But yeah, let me get out of here. Thank you for coming through. Just wanted to talk about some of this stuff. My thoughts and everything like that. And I'm gonna get out of here. All right. All right. Thank y'all for coming through, y'all. All right. I'm the Black Manga Critic. Shouts to everybody in the chat. Y'all are dope, obviously. All right, and I gotta get some cleaning done. All right, I gotta get some cleaning done. You know, some prep work done, and I'm out of here. See you.